Hey everybody! Welcome to my brand new Let's Play here of Final Fantasy X. Thought I'd switch it up a little bit from Breath of Fire to going into what seems like the most popular franchise that you can get into for JRPGs. To start off here, we're asked a little question for Standard Sphere Grid or Expert. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Standard Sphere Grid as I just think that if most people are looking into this walkthrough that are new and never played it, I can't think there's too many. But the fact of the matter is, I just want it to be kind of available for most people checking it out for the first time. As for the soundtrack, I've listened to the arranged. I appreciate it quite a bit. I'm going to go with the original. I might switch it up during the playthrough. Who knows, right? But anyways, yeah, the beginning here is filled with a ton of cutscenes. I'm not going to be talking over most of them. Maybe light little quips or whatever. I don't know, man. Just a little bit of dialogue here. So that being said, beginning is full of tons of different scenes and dialogue. So for the most part, I'm going to stay pretty quiet for it, and I'll get into talking about the Let's Play a little bit more as far as my intentions with it after the cutscenes here.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of bland font there for the name of the game, but yeah, Final Fantasy X really kicks it off. I would say that out of all the Final Fantasies, the most sentimental, the most emotional. God, guy's hat. I saw you. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but this guy who's running to the left-hand side of the screen just has this flying saucer for a hat. Just absolutely ridiculous. Alright. So this is our main character here, and we're always going to start off with a little bit of controversy as far as how
Of course.
the name is pronounced. Titus, Tidus, I don't really know what people are calling him. I call him Titus. Sometimes I slip up and call him Titus.
Good luck tonight!
Nothing to worry about. Oh, if I score a goal, I'll, do this. That will mean it was for you, okay? What seat?
He's blocking the front row! It's from the right!
Got it.
Hope you're taking notes there, little kid. That's how you do it. Anyway, Titus, the ever ladies man here.
Can you sign this?
No prob. Alrighty.
It's that hat again.
Me too!
Take it easy.
Anyway, we start off here with our main character, Titus.
Well, gotta go. Cheer for me.
2, 3. Teach us how to blitz!
Hey, I got a game to play.
My favorite line of the game.
Then teach us after.
Maybe tonight? Well,
You can't tonight.
I mean tomorrow.
Promise?
Promise.
Wonderful. Well, after this day, I guess we'll go ahead and teach the kids how to blitz.
I was in a coffee shop running away from home when I heard the news. Our hero, checked, gone, vanished into thin air. My dad must have been his biggest fan. I knew how sad he'd be. Heck, we all were that day. Zanar, I says to myself, what are you thinking? I went running straight back home. We sat up talking about Jack all night. My dad and I never talked so much. Whoa, didn't mean to reminisce, folks. Anyway, 10 years later, the Jack Memorial Cup tournament is today. The two teams that have won through to the finals are, of course, the Abes from A East and the Duggles from C South. I know there's a lot of people out there today to see the star of the Abes. In just 1 year, he's become the team's #1 player. He's Jack's blood and the new hope of Blitzball. What kind of super play will he show us today? Will we see his father's legendary shot? I don't think I'm the only one excited here, folks.
Right. So I will let that dialogue kind of end out, because if I would have ran off the screen, we wouldn't have heard it all. But I just want to show you guys off this real fast. If you follow the girl who's running, she's going to ask for tickets. You say sure thing. Go ahead and give her some tickets to the Blitz game here coming up. And you can get a couple of potions. Not bad. But at any rate, yeah, the main gist of things is to understand... by the way, I don't get this dialogue. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Maybe there's a little bit of foreshadowing to the future. And secondly, another thing here I wanted to point out is this person right here, I'm pretty positive the name Titus does not come up again in dialogue as far as people mentioning the main character's name. So... anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. I think this guy is just crouched down, like this is socially acceptable. No one gives a shit or anything, but you have these multiple people here kind of not feeling good. In all honesty, I'm not really too sure about that. Sometimes I think that Final Fantasy X being so new on the newest console just tried to do different things.
Make way, make way! Coming through, sorry. Hey, I'm gonna be late.
Yeah, what I mean by that
Hey,
is
let go of me.
there may have been just some technical things that they could have done nowadays in these games compared to in other games. Take, for instance, Final Fantasy IX. You might not have been able to have such high resolution to show the emotion. I don't know. So ominous and so badass. Right, so this is what the kids were talking about as far as teaching them how to blitz. This would be Blitzball, the main sport in Final Fantasy X. It plays a lot like a combination of rugby and soccer, but underwater. It plays a pretty large role in the game in general. Meanwhile, we have this destructive spear. You got a lot going on here. Chaos strikes during the Blitzball game here, and it's going to be pretty difficult for people to look away from past this one. Thankfully, being a Final Fantasy character, we have ability to survive from things that we wouldn't be able to, and breathe underwater, all sorts of different capabilities.
Orin! What are you doing here?
I was waiting for you.
What are you talking about?
Orin, however, very calm about the whole scenario. At the beginning of Final Fantasy X, there's a lot of chaos and a lot of just unknowingness, right? It's like most newer Final Fantasies, I suppose. We play the same role as Tidus.
Huh?
It begins.
What?
Don't cry.
Yeah, like I was saying, we kind of take the role as playing as Tidus, and not just playing as him, but in the same vanity of understanding the world around him. There's going to be a lot of different questions,
Hey, wait!
a lot of misunderstandings, and not knowing what the hell is going on.
Hey, not this way!
Look,
That's kind of the beauty of Final Fantasy X in a nutshell. I know HD Remastered tried to do the best they did, but geez, those eyes look... They don't look great. They don't look good at all. Jeez.
we called it sin.
Sin?
Just as much as we have our Luke Skywalker character as Tidus, we have our Obi-Wan being Orin, who kind of guides us along the way, enabling us to be able to figure out any sense of what's going on here. All we know is that our peaceful little town got attacked, no seeming reason.
A gift from Jack.
My old man?
Right, if you were reading along earlier when I was talking to some of the NPCs, one of them called Tidus Jack Jr. Jeff being his father, and if you were following along even a little bit more,
These ones don't matter. We cut through.
Jecht is kind of an old-time hero here in this city. Anyway, pretty standard JRPG stuff here, especially for standard for Final Fantasy. We have our attack item on the right-hand side. We have the turn order, which we can, it's kind of a little bit newer as far as Final Fantasy goes, but definitely very, very nice. It shows us what monsters and who's going up next. So, for instance, if Monster B is going up next, it would probably be best if I kill Monster B so that I can go ahead and have Tidus get a turn so that we don't incur any damage. You know, just nice little quality of life upgrade from the previous Final Fantasies. It doesn't go from the traditional
Don't bother
ATB,
going after all of them. Cut the ones that matter and run.
but at the same time goes along the lines of having some sort of semblance of understanding who goes first. As Orin described, you can go ahead and go for these back ranks, but at the end of the day, we're trying to press forward and not backwards. So we're just going to go ahead and move forward. Just a few tutorial battles to get newer players started. It's really as simple as just attacking and moving forward here. You'll see that Orin got an overkill there, new to Final Fantasy X compared to the other Final Fantasies. You'll have a damage number that you can hit at a certain enemy, and killing them with that certain damage can be considered an overkill. Doing so grants more experience, AP in this game, and as well as more rewards for drops, which is pretty nice in this game. Again, we'll be going over that when it's a little bit more pertinent. More tutorial stuff here. Our first little mini boss slash boss. I wouldn't really even call it a boss. Again, it's kind of tutorial, getting to learn the game.
Get out of my town!
Some can't wait to die.
Yeah, that's right. The badass quote. One of Orin's favorites, or one of the known favorites from Orin. Here we have the overdrives, much like the limits, limit breaks as far as Final Fantasy goes. Again, all typical JRPG Final Fantasy normal stuff. Let's go ahead to the side here, and for Dragon Fang, when we go ahead and select that, because it's going to hit everybody, and for the overdrive, his specific quality is that we go ahead and do some button inputs here, down, left, up, right, L1, R1, circle, X, and it's able to do a little bit more damage. Now, if I didn't complete that, no worries, there would have been no real issues with it. I don't think I would have done nearly as much damage, but again, this is all tutorial stuff. It's so much of a tutorial in the sense that actually this boss here, Sin Spawn Ames, won't actually be able to kill you whatsoever. It will only do demi over and over and over again, which just halves, I believe it halves, let's see here, about a quarter, 1/4 your HP every single time. So it doesn't actually attack or anything like that, so there's no possibility for you to actually die in this battle at all. So that's why I'm not healing up, even though I'm at kind of critical health here. Let's go ahead and show off Tidus' overdrive. This is a sword play. Instead of doing button inputs like Orin, there's going to be a little bit of a timer here. It's going to go back and forth here. You just want to get the timer in the middle. Be able to hit it. If you don't hit in the middle, it'll kind of reset itself for you to try again. Again, if you don't hit it, not really that important. It just boosts the damage. I'd say, kind of get used to it a couple more times before, being able to do it quote-unquote perfectly every time. But at the same time, it's not really that difficult. You could probably do it. I actually want to be using Tidus' overdrive quite a bit, because much like in, say, Final Fantasy VII, the more you use a character's limit break, specifically for Tidus, you'll be able to learn a new overdrive. So for instance, I believe that when I use Tidus' overdrive, that spiral cut 10 times, I believe it's 10 times, maybe I'm wrong on the number, but anywhere between 10 to 20 times, I'll learn his second overdrive, much like how Cloud goes from Braver to Cross Slash. Anyway, After defeating that boss here, we have our first save sphere. Anytime you touch it, HP and MP is restored. Again, fairly different than most Final Fantasies. You have to use a tent or a cabin, but you're going to see a lot of those throughout the game, making it a fairly easy journey.
What are you laughing at, old man? Lauren, let's get out of here.
We're expected.
Huh? Give me a break, man.
Tidus in the beginning here is going to be a little bit, for lack of better words, whiny. The billboard that you saw in the building there, that was Jecht, his dad. That's why he even says, "What are you laughing at, old man?" Some more tutorial stuff here. New to Final Fantasy X, aside from the overdrives and the turn order instead of the ATB, we're gonna have, you'll see this little mechanical thing to the right-hand side. We'll be putting it to use. There's going to be these specific instances called trigger commands. Now, in this case, it's not going to be considered a trigger command. However, it's going to be something that's going to interact with the battle. It'll come up every once in a while throughout the game, but again, they're just trying to familiarize yourself with it and say, hey, this is something that's going to happen throughout your playthrough.
This could be bad. That! Knock it down.
What?
Trust me, you'll see.
Before knocking it down, let's go ahead and take out this sin scale. Because its wings are flickering, it's going to be able to do a little bit more damage than it would normally be able to do. I figure that we'll just get rid of it now. Otherwise, as you'll see there, they just keep on spawning over and over and over again, the more you kill. So, Auron comes up with a brilliant idea of just hitting this contraption that's hopefully going to be able to get us the hell out of here. Spoiler alert, it does. If I'm honest with you, I don't know how much damage you're supposed to do to it. I don't know if you're supposed to attack that contraption a certain amount of times. Again, it's more spoiler-ish stuff. Now, even though this guy's wings are flickering as of right now, I'll go ahead and use Auron to hit this. And now I'll go ahead and use Tidus to take the enemy H out here. Again, just want to take him out because he can be able to do a little bit of damage. I think the spines that it uses will do around 100 damage or so. This being B here, we get 2 turns, and I think in 2 turns we can go ahead and just take this thing out. So I'm just gonna risk it. Looks like we were able to. Doing so drops this semi-truck thing into, I don't really understand it. What is this place's, what is the streets made of? That's acid? I don't understand. I honestly don't understand what's going on here. So I mean, creates this chain reaction explosion, and we're just supposed to have our suspension of disbelief in order. Whatever, it's fine. Beginning of a game, and it's Final Fantasy. I can't ask for much. One thing's for sure, though, if we stick with Auron, looks like things are going to be alright.
Sure.
Thanks for the help.
This is it. This is your story. It all begins here.
Hey. Hey!
If all of this seems confusing,
My old man?
as confusing as a newer player, then it makes complete sense. Don't worry about it. This will all make sense in about 35 hours. That being said, we're in this new little area here, which pretty much looks like the exact same town we were in, Tidus's hometown. In Final Fantasy X here, we have this swimming-like scenario here, where we're swimming, floating, I'm not really sure. Just hold circle to go down and go over to this guy over here. Looks, I guess, strangely familiar if you're really paying attention to that billboard.
I thought about a lot of things. Like where I was, what I got myself into. I started to feel lightheaded, and then sleepy. I think I had a dream of being alone. I wanted someone, anyone beside me, so I didn't have to feel alone anymore.
Translation seemed a little bit wonky. Maybe even not the translation, but the voice acting direction? Not really sure. But nonetheless, we're out of that area and into another. Tidus wakes up and finds himself
Anybody
in
there?
a set of ruins here.
Aaron! Hey!
Right. So as we continue here, you'll see in the upper left-hand corner we got a nice little mini-map to guide us along our way here. Holding circle allows you to deep dive, or no, I shouldn't say dive, deep dive. Go into the water here. This is terrible. I have no idea where Tidus is. What's going on there? I think I've never done that before. Let's head over to the right over here, because you probably noticed that little building had some blue little thing on it that seemed a little bit out of place. It would be this here that has the green squares hovering over it.
What do we have here? Nope, can't read it.
That's right now it's in a totally different language. It's not really going to serve any purpose anytime soon, but I suppose it's there. Before moving on to where the red arrow indicates to move on to the next area, let's go move over here. A couple things of note over here. That same language that we saw, there's a sphere here. Spheres are very, very common in Final Fantasy X land here. And it's called the Bhed Compilation sphere. Essentially, that language was called Bhed, and what you can do is, if you've completed the game beforehand, you can actually go ahead and take your old save data, your completed save data, and use this sphere to load the save data so that you already have the Bhed language, some of it figured out, or all of it figured out, depending on how much you've collected. That being said, I don't have any save data. I deleted my stuff previous to the walkthrough here. So, that said, let's go down here, and we can go ahead and pick up our first chest in the game. Some potions. Standard stuff. Helps out, actually, in the beginning. I'm pretty liberal with potion use with the beginning of the game. We don't really have anybody that can cure anytime soon. I mean, definitely Tidus. He's not going to be able to do that. Another save point. I think I'm going to go along for a little bit extra time though for this episode. I mean, being the first episode in the Let's Play, might as well go for a nice 30-35 minute video compared to what I'd usually want to do, something like 25 minutes or so. There's a nice little high potion. If you don't grab that now, you would go ahead and continue on over here down to this bridge. And following this little FMV scene, well, the point being that we would fall and we wouldn't be able to collect it until much later in the game. Being far away from home, this doesn't really look like the most friendly type of atmosphere here. Let's go ahead and go down here, watch another cutscene. I have a feeling it's going to have to do something with those creatures that we saw lurking in the water. A little bit intense there. And an ambush. Wonderful. Hey, no worries. I just get hit 6 times for no reason. I don't know where he hides it, but he's got his old dad's sword there, so let's go ahead and take these guys out. Sahajins. Again, we're at the beginning of the game, so nothing really too threatening. 1 hit should take him out. What I'm going to go ahead and do is something that you could have done with the beginning of the game, fighting those sin scales. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the time to go ahead and block several times. I would actually say specifically 60 times. The reason why I'm doing this is because, much like the limit breaks in Final Fantasy VII, well, in Overdrive, you can go ahead and build them in different ways. However, you have to, I guess the best way to say this is you have to learn different ways to building them. So there are going to be multiple avenues of doing this. What I'm trying to do right now is because Tidus is alone, I can learn what's called the loner way of building overdrives. The loner mode, overdrive mode. It essentially means that, exactly that I've been alone. And that when Tidus is alone, his overdrive will build faster. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this off screen. I'll go ahead and come back when I'm all done and completed. Right, there we go. We get a little prompt there showing that we've actually learned the overdrive mode. All I've been doing is just quite literally hitting triangle to guard, and when I get a little bit weaker here in the yellow or fatal HP, I just go ahead and use a potion. Just for a disclaimer, by no means do you need to do this. I'm just going to do it because it's an easier method to be able to get Tidus's overdrive. Using overdrives is a great way to be able to overkill enemies. So that's why I'm going to do it. It's just going to be easier for me to get those overdrives whenever I want to be able to prepare for battles that I want to get overkills in at the early game here. Yeah, when left alone, Mama Bear comes out, and it's looking for food. The sky is rough and tumble. This is Geo Sagano. Geostagino, I'm not really sure. I'm not going to be able to do much damage to him. However, it should be known that every time he hits us, kind of like the Sin Spawn Ames, the boss that we fought earlier in the episode, he can't really kill us. He's just going to deal damage proportionate to our health, and it will be halved every single time. You'll see 201 to 101. And this is, to be real frank, a scripted battle. Nothing you're going to be able to win anytime soon. This guy is really, really strong for this point in the game, let alone even when you do actually fight him and stand a chance. he's gonna be strong and he's difficult to beat. I really like how he looks, though. He does look pretty cool compared to a lot of the monsters that you'll see in Final Fantasy X. Yeah, again, looking far away from home compared to where we were.
I had made it out of the frying pan and into the freezer. I thought I was gonna die in this place.
Well, let's not die in this place, Titus. The game's only just begun. Going along here, we're going to be entering the only place that we can enter. Straight, narrow hallway. I'm not really sure how the water is working in this area. There's like this waterfall, but we were in the water to get here. Again, don't think too hard on it. Should be telling myself that, not so much you guys. It just doesn't make any sense.
Cold. Need fire.
Well, to proceed further, we have this purple X, but we go down here a little bit. We have our nice little save spot, which is a perfect place for me to go ahead and finish up this episode for now. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Next time, we're going to go ahead and make a fire, be able to get Titus warmed up for a little bit. Take care, guys.